Hi there, folks. Sean Broderick, and I'm at the PDAC again. And this time I'm talking to Terry Lynch. He's the chairman of Chilean Metals Incorporated, and they are doing some exploring in Chile for copper and for copper gold, and it's really an exciting and interesting story. They have some other things that other companies wish they had, and so Terry's going to tell you about it. Could you give them?
Sure, the
just
one,
an
the
overview
1, 2,
of
3.
the story. Yeah.
Okay. We're in Chile. We're exploring right now. We're actually in the middle of a drill program, and we'll be drilling through probably the end of March. Probably gets extended into April. And we're drilling in a very exciting area. It's called sort of Region 3 in Chile, and it's right beside Candelaria, which is a giant mine that Lundin bought for $2 billion from Freeport-McMoRan. It's been in business for 20 years. Probably a billion tons of, call it 1% copper or gold equivalent over the last number of years and what's in front of it. And then within the region, another sort of 40 miles north-south of that, there's probably another 7-8 deposits of between 100 and 200 million tons, similar grade. So exciting, very prolific area. The team that identified this is really capable. I'm not a geologist. I'm not a scientist in any way. I'm a business guy. And our team, the lead geologist is Chris Hodgson. Chris basically discovered Santo Domingo, which was sold to Capstone and Correz for $700 million. And so obviously a great lead discovery. And our geophysics team is led by Minotaur, which is a very prominent Australian exploration company that discovered, among other things, Prominent Hill, which is a multi-billion-dollar discovery that Oz Minerals now has. So great team to have for junior. And so we're exploring Zulema, and we released our first round of drilling about a week ago. And it was interesting. I mean, funnily enough, the stock, the press release was that we were highly encouraged, and the stock came off a little bit, came off from, 25 to 15, so they saw it as bad news, but we actually were really encouraged, and it was, the reason why we were encouraged is that we intersected some very attractive lenses. So not big intersections. We understand that's what the market ultimately wants, and we hope to deliver that shortly. But they were, 1 gram, 1% sections, up 2 to 10 meters. So pretty interesting and indicative, we think, especially with the other composition of the drill holes. And so we're really excited about that. So one of the points that Sean had alluded to was that we had a few things in our company that others don't have at this stage. And I think, the way I like to present it is that we have very big exploration plays, which I think everyone tries to say that they have. We feel like we've got it in spades given the areas that we're at, and we have sort of on this target that we're drilling, we have really 2 independent targets. One's a geological target, the other one we call it the IP target. So that's exciting. But the other point that we would have is we have a royalty. We sold the property to Teck a couple of years back for $3 million and a 3% royalty. That property is adjacent. They're producing Cabrera Blanca mine. It's up in the High Cordillera. So that mine is going to run out of ore by mid-2019, according to Teck on their website. So,
they already have lower grades, so they're looking for something.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I mean, 2 years ago they were doing 400 million plus in sales and making 100 million, and last year they did about 225, and I think they lost a little bit of money. But so they're actively exploring on our project they acquired from us. The project already had a substantial resource, so we think that within the next 2 years, it's very likely that this gets put in production, and that royalty alone will make us $6 to $8 million a year. So our market cap is $15 million.
And so you start to make $6 to $8 million a year.
It ain't going to be $15 million,
right?
So we sort of look at that and say, hey, you got that as a backstop, and you've got these great exploration plays in Chile. And wait, there's more. Yeah, and the more is we actually had, when Minotaur came to the table with their property of packages through Kokonov in Nova Scotia. It was interesting. I'm a Nova Scotia boy, and when they initially brought this property package, they spent $10 million on it. They were talking about this continental shelves meeting, crustal faults. It's misunderstood, and I'm thinking these guys are on drugs. But I actually did a bunch of research, or I had our scientists do a bunch of research, talked to the Department of Resources in Nova Scotia. I actually went to school in Nova Scotia, so I had some friends in the department, and they said, hey, we've redone our maps as on the basis of these guys' research, and we think there's going to be a major discovery in Nova Scotia. Now, whether or not it's done on their properties or not, no guarantees, but they said they've had the pick of it. So we were pretty excited. So at the end of the day, what we did with one of the properties, and it has an amazing target on it, but we farmed it out. We farmed it out to a Texas-based private equity group, and they're going to fund the drilling. That'll start sort of May, June. And we keep 60%, they keep 40% through this first drill program. So it's from our perspective, the reason why we did that was our share price was low. We didn't want to dilute our treasury any further. And we consider this more risky than Zulema, because Zulema's in a proven mineral jurisdiction. This is not proven yet. So it's like, hey, if it hits, fantastic. We're going to make some money. And we've got 3 other great projects that are, maybe as good or better. So it's, from a junior perspective, you get all these exploration upside. You got the royalty downside. Stock's at 15 cents.
So very tiny company, not well known. And yet, so much potential. I just have to say, it's really worth an extra look. Thanks very much for laying
happy to come out.
That whole story out. This is really interesting. We will keep an eye on it. It's CMX on the TXXV, and what's symbol on the OTC?
CMETF in the OTC BB.
Right, CMETF. So keep that in mind. We'll definitely have to take a close look at these guys, because it looks like they could be riding the next wave pretty soon. Thanks very much for speaking to my viewers. You folks stay tuned. I'll have more for you from the PDAC.